Lawrence Welk.
Yes, television.
Television,
champagne.
yes.
Yeah, because if it wasn't television, I'd be about 95.
But hey, let's back up. When you were 3 years old, you did a movie or some Al Jolson.
Well, I did not realize until recently, I played the part of an angel. Okay, my mother said I was terribly miscast. Okay, but I was in a little toga with little gold wings hanging from a soundstage from the top on wires with a bunch of other little kids. And all I could remember was this man with a mule going up this walk, and my mother told me this because I was pretty little. He was singing Going to Heaven on a Mule. And here a few months ago, I'm watching the Turner old movies, you know?
Yes, right.
And all of a sudden I see this fella going to heaven on a mule.
You remember that,
and,
huh?
Well, I remember it was Al Jolson, and I did probably his last movie.
It was?
Maybe. I'm not real sure. You know, I was too little to remember. I think I remember more my mother told me.
How many films did you do when you were a kid?
Maybe 15 or 20, you know.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was.
What
well, I
studios were
did
you at?
Hal Roach. I did some of the Pete Smith shorts. I did Babes in Toyland.
I remember that.
But I was this big, you know. And
were you singing and dancing and all that?
Yeah, and I went to school on the sets, you know, and I did some movies with Ronald Coleman. I can't remember the names.
Ronald Coleman.
I played the part of a little crippled girl, and I can remember coming down the stairs. I can't remember the name of the movie, but one that I particularly remember was the one with Olivia de Havilland, where I was her little baby sister with Frederick March and so on, and it was about the story about the father that won the lottery, and he bought all the kids' carriages and so on, you know.
Sounds like me, baby.
I know. I'm having a senior moment today. Okay, I'll remember it when we finish the show. I'll get the name of the picture.
I want to go back. I mean, 17 years in Las Vegas. My God.
Yes.
With Freddy and the Bellboys?
That was after we got married. When I first started there, I opened at the New Frontier with Marge and Gower Champion.
You did?
And Edith Head did my gowns, Nelson Riddle did my music, Charlie O'Curran staged my act, and I opened with Marge and Gower Champion. It was a pretty heavy company, you know.
Right.
And it was a huge success. And then from there, I played the Sands with Danny Thomas. And
Danny Thomas.
Oh,
what a guy.
Yeah, and what a great entertainer. You know, I work with some of the best comics in the world in Vegas.
Shecky Green.
I love Shecky.
Isn't he great?
Oh, I see him all the time.
Rickles.
And yes, and Don Rickles. Don Rickles used to.
You worked the lounges like they did.
No, I worked the main rooms.
You did?
And then when I teamed
on,
up with Freddie,
they worked the lounges.
We worked the lounge
That's
because they gave us a 7-year contract at the Sahara Hotel right after my baby was born, Freddie Jr. And we took Louis Prima and Keely Smith's place when they moved to the Desert Inn. So we had a lovely home, and we had a home life with our children, and we could stay home, 7-year contract. But altogether, between working Reno, Tahoe, Vegas, we worked 17 years there with my time too.
Gambling. Did you get to gamble? And
my husband gambled enough for all of Las Vegas.
Shecky did too.
Oh, of course he did.
They all did.
Of course, I see him every day at the race book down in Rancho Mirage.
He's at the race.
Every day he's playing the horses.
Is he really?
He's still playing the horses.
I love Shecky Green.
He's the funniest guy in the world.
He invents. He never knows what he's going to do on that stage.
I used to love it when he used to pick up the bass and do the Bell D.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you summer bits. Since I met you, nothing fits.
Tell me about Louis Primo and Keely.
Oh, I loved it. Well, that's when you could go to the lounge and have a free breakfast and a free drink and $1 million worth of entertainment.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
4
those
in the
days
morning,
are gone
5 in the
right
morning.
all
Oh, it
night.
was
Well, we
great.
all ended up watching each other.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, all
and
the entertainers.
we did. We were a family, and that's when you know the gang, the mob ran Vegas, and it was wonderful because they knew what to do.
Word, the mob. They were the greatest.
They were the best.
I didn't like these organizations running it now.
No, they don't
don't have a
understand.
clue.
No, they don't understand
And
the
the mob
business.
does.
That's right. They don't understand entertainers
You
or
were with
music.
the Rat Pack. Tell me about the Rat
Oh,
Pack.
I loved them. You know, Sammy Davis, Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford, Frank Sinatra.
What kind of guy was he? Really?
Wonderful.
Was he?
Wonderful. I loved
Great
him dearly.
Italian humanity.
He did, and Dean Martin. Dean Martin was probably one of the sweetest men in the whole world.
And funny.
Oh, he's and a great singer, underrated singer. You know, all his life. You know, and just a wonderful person, great human being.
I love Vegas. Those people in those days.
Dick
Roman, a friend of mine, worked Vegas. Dick Roman, do you remember him?
Of course, I remember Dick Roman.
He died so soon, and
I know.
he gave me my name, Skippy Lowe. People ask, "Is that your real name, Skippy Lowe?" I says, "No." Dick Roman gave it to me.
I love that name. I love it, Skippy.
Dick Roman.
I do. Do you remember Luigi's Restaurant by Sands?
Yes.
That's the best Italian food in the world, and
like
that's
Italian
where.
food?
Oh, I do. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm married to Italians. I'm Freddie Bell, Ferdinando Domenico Bello, and my second husband was.
Italiano.
Yes, I parlo Italiano. My second husband was Vincenzo Fucci.
Fucci.
Yeah, but he went under the name of Jim Ferris, and of course Freddie was Freddie Bell instead of Bello.
How did you meet Freddie Bell?
This is an interesting story. I was working at the Riverside Hotel in the main room, and Freddie was in the lounge with his group. And I used to sneak out there and watch him. He was so cute.
He was.
He was cute. You know, that's all I can tell you. A good-looking Italian, little guy.
Yeah. And you loved it right away.
Oh, well, you know what happened? I used to sneak in and watch him, and I didn't realize he was watching me. And at the time, I was very thin, and I have very long legs. Okay, I'm all legs and short-waisted.
That's good.
And I did 4 costume changes on stage, so I ended up.
Edith did all your gowns.
She did, and I ended up on a leotard cut up to my hip bones, and so I go in this night into the lounge to catch Freddie's late show, you know, and I've got on tennis shoes and some Levi's and a little turtleneck sweater, and I'm standing at the end of the bar, and I'm waiting for him to come on, and all of a sudden I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around, it's Freddie, and he says, "Oh, boy, am I glad." He said, "I thought you were 6 feet tall." You know, he was 5'8", you know, with elevator shoes. And so anyway, make a long story short, I saw his show, and then he came back to me. I was sitting at the end of the bar, and he said, "Would you like to go to breakfast?" And I said, "I thought you never asked." So that's how we met, and then we started writing songs for each other. Writing material for our acts and so on.
So you did your own stuff, huh?
We did a lot of our own material,
Really?
you know. Yeah, we had a thing that was written for us by a great writer. Jack Jones said it's one of the best things after Fred and I
There's
teamed
another
up.
great singer.
Are you
Jones.
kidding? He came to see Fred and I we opened the Sahara up in Tahoe, and we had a thing from the soliloquy where I wanted him to be a CPA, a doctor, a lawyer, you know, the president of the United States, and Freddie wanted him to be a swinger hanging with the guys in South Philly. And that's how this thing was written. And the first night that we introduced it, we had little Freddie sitting on a stool between us in a pin spot. And we're singing this song, and we get in like in an argument in the lyrics. And at the very end, we look at each other and we said, "What does it really matter? We both love him, and that's all that counts." And then we went, "Our boyfriend, da da da," you know. And Jack Jones came back after stage. He says, "That's the best piece of material I've ever heard from a husband and wife. It's absolutely outstanding."
Roberta Linn, think back.
Yes.
Those days in Vegas when you were on the lounge with Freddie and all. In the audience, who's sitting there late, 3, 2, 4 in the morning?
Pat, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis, Joe Louis would come in to see
All
us.
of them.
You know,
They all came.
Right.
What an audience.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. The only time I ever got nervous was when Frank came in.
Really?
Well, you know, because
Everybody's nervous around
Well,
him.
I was such a fan of his phrasing. He made love to every word he sang. One of the great
Is that Frank Sinatra's secret, is the phrasing?
Phrasing and pronunciation of his words. You could understand everything.
That's right.
And his phrasing. He had great breath control. And, you
That's
know,
it. That's the most
the whole key,
You're
you
right.
know,
Yeah. Did you
is...
study voice?
Well,
were a kid?
I did when I was a little girl. I just studied with a lady, 25 cents for my lesson. And she taught us ear training. You know, somebody asked me the other day, they said, "We have a little boy, could you teach him to sing?" And I said, "I can make him better, but God gives you 2 things that you have to be a singer. You have to have great ears. You have to hear the notes before you sing them. And the second key is good time.
Meter.
If you can't feel the
Meter,
time,
honey.
baby, you can't sing.
Eddie Fisher.
You got
Tell
it?
Eddie Fisher that, honey.
Oh, what was his, remember Eddie, his piano player? Had to cue him.
Yeah. Terrible. Eddie.
I know, he could never feel the beat.
He couldn't do it.
But he was a good singer.
Good singer, yeah.
He was a good singer.
Off meter.
Yeah.
Totally. Let's get with Lawrence Welk. How did this Roberta Linn get hooked with to become the champagne lady of the...
Somebody asked me if I was a stripper. They said, what is a champagne lady?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Someone that didn't know,
No,
you know.
yeah, go ahead.
And I said, no, I'm not a stripper.
There's one
But
Republican's out there.
Well, it was champagne music. And if you remember all the bands of that era, it was like Shep Fields and his Rippling Ribbon. And it was Les Brown and his Band of Renown. And it was Lawrence Welk and his Champagne Music Makers. And the featured singer, the girl, was the Champagne Lady. I had auditioned for his manager, Sam Lutz.
Oh, okay.
When I was 16.
16.
I was 16, but I could pass for 20.
Okay.
At 16, okay. And I was pretty seasoned at that time because remember I've been singing and
singing
doing
since you were
shows
3, honey.
and acting, right? So they had K-Star, they had Frankie Lane, they had the Treniers, they had Welk, okay, and so on. And he said, you know what? He said, I really like the way you sing, but you're too young for our stable. When you get out of school and you get a little bit older, come back and see me. Well, I was up at Chappelle Music. Since you asked me this is a story, I hope I'm not...
I want to hear it.
Okay.
No, tell
So
me.
I was up at Chappelle
Everybody
Music.
wants to hear that story.
Well, I was plugging songs for the Chappelle Music and the different people. I go on there, like the Jenny Sims show or something. They give me $15 to sing their song, you know. So I'm up at I can't think of this guy's name, Jack Lawrence or somebody at Chappelle, and I come down on Sunset Boulevard, and who do I run into but Sam Lutz, because their office was right there. You remember, across from the Palladium. And he said, hi, kid. He said, how old are you now? And I said, well, I could pass for 20. He said, Lawrence Welk is in from the Midwest, and he's looking for a girl singer. He's at the Palladium. Oh. And he said, be there tonight at 7:30. There are going to be other girl singers there, but he said, doll yourself up, put a little extra makeup on, and so on. So we lived in Huntington Park. It was an all-day trip at that time to come over to Hollywood. So I called my mom. She comes over, brings me a dress, fixes me up. We go, and we get there. And if you've ever been in the Palladium, remember it had the upstairs. You went down to the dance floor, and it was like a shell, like shell oil. Bandstand was there. So my mother and I perch ourselves at a table close to the side of the bandstand, right? Well, there must have been 600 girl singers there and about 10 dancers. Nobody knew Lawrence Welk. He was big in the Midwest, but not out here. So, make a long story short, now it's 12:30. They had some wonderful singers. And I said, oh, Mom, we might as well go home. She said, if you don't go up there and ask him if you can sing one song before we close up.
One song, Roberta
I'm going to
Linn?
tell you right now. She said, if you don't go tell him, I'm going to kill you. So the manager of the ballroom said, Larry, if you audition one more girl, take your accordion and go back to Yankton. So with that, my mother shoves me. I go up to Lawrence Welk and I said, Mr. Welk, I've been here since 7:30. Sam Lutz sent me, and I know you've listened to wonderful singers, and I'm probably not going to get the job anyway. But my mom said she'd kill me if you didn't let me sing one song, and I didn't want to die.
I love it.
So he said, what did you say your name was? And I said, my name is Roberta Linn. He said, Roberta Linn. You know, that's a very nice name. I hope you can sing, kid. So I couldn't think of anything except Embraceable You. So I embrace me.